Welcome to World History on a Page, Part 3. In Parts 1 and 2, we got the Roman Empire and the different empires, Assyria and Babylonia. Now we're going to go back to the beginning of the page, and in fact, we have to go back even before the beginning of the page, because there were already empires in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, even before 2000. So way back in 3000, we already had a people called the Sumerians. And then we had what's often considered the very first empire of the Middle East. It was the empire of Sargon the Great, Sargon of Akkad, and that's roughly the 2400s to the 2200s. After that, the small countries were ruling there in the Middle East until another empire came along, and that's called the Old Babylonian Empire. And the famous person there is Hammurabi, the lawgiver. He was replaced by the Kassites for 400 years, and then we began to have sort of an interchange between the Babylonians ruled for a while, then the Assyrians, then the Babylonians and the Assyrians. And so when the Assyrians finally got so large that they could take over Israel, that was already their third try at forming an empire. Up in Turkey, we had the Hittites at this time. And in the area that we now associate with Greece, we had several civilizations. The civilization called Minoan already started way before 2000 and was in place at this time. And the another civilization in Greek was called the Mycenaean, which started during this century and continued on. Well, a great important event happened right at 1200 BC, so I'm going to draw it as a dotted line here. It's called the Dorian invasion. And what happened was that another Greek-speaking people invaded from the north down into Greece. These kingdoms then disappeared from history. And the rest of the time in Greece became interplay between the original Greeks and the new Dorians, and there were various ones were predominant in different times of history, and in the 400s, it was the Greeks who had their famous battles against the Persians. But then Alexander the Great took over, and Greece became under his control. Two other interesting things happened during the Dorian invasion. One was that some displaced Greeks settled on the edge of Israel. They were called the Philistines. They were a Greek type of cultural person. And you can remember the battle between David and Goliath. Goliath was a Philistine. And in the Mediterranean Sea, because the previous Minoans and Mycenaeans now were no longer there, it was the Phoenicians who took over the trade routes. And they built a colony called Carthage in northern Africa. And you may remember the wars between Rome and Carthage. Hannibal, the general from Carthage, who took the elephants over the Alps to fight the Romans. One more thing over here on this edge of the picture. We already know that the Byzantine Empire was already just down to Turkey and Greece. But starting here after 1000, another group of Turks came in, and they took over central Turkey, and they were called the Seljuk Turks. So really, all that the Byzantine Empire had, as it was facing the Crusaders, was only the edge of Turkey and Greece. The Fourth Crusade actually took over Constantinople and formed the Latin Kingdom of Constantinople right here in the 1200s. It lasted for almost 100 years. This is the amount I would like to give you for part 3. And when we go on to part 4, we will start to draw the China, Japan, Korea up here on the top of the paper. I hope you have good luck in trying to internalize these things by drawing them for yourself. And remember, you can get the exact years and directions at foundbytes.com. Turn 2, Learn History. Thank you.